Nick Fuentes just got exposed for admitting that he's been toning down his racism to try to get in good with the general public.
However, I think that I have actually positioned myself as still reasonable to the majority of people.
Which is obvious if you know anything about Nick Fuentes' earlier content or his stances.
Hitler was a and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool. A lot of women want to be raped, and when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that.
But still, he managed to succeed at becoming more mainstream and really becoming a leading voice for the younger generation of the Republican Party.
The fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers.
And now we know it was all an act. He's still the same racist, sexist bigot he always was.
If I can differentiate myself and say, hey, I'm not on that train. I'm not a conspiratard. I'm not going to accept every Jewish conspiracy. If I could do that and hurt my credibility some with these guys, but earn credibility with more mainstream people, you know, that's actually the real game.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it. Nick Fuentes' group chat gets leaked, and he admits to counter-signaling anti-Semitism to gain mainstream support.
However, I think that I have actually positioned myself as still reasonable to the majority of people.
He's still talking about racists. He's still talking about MAGA Republicans, the extreme right wing. And the people that are mad at him now are the people that were on the fringes with him before when he was super extreme.
Raise your right hand. All right, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I will kill and die for Nicholas J. Fuentes. A lot of women want to be raped, and when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them. Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up. It is Heil Hitler Friday. Heil Hitler, all my Nazis.
Hitler was a and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really cool.
And once again, remember who is responsible for it all: the Jews.
And they're mad he's not still saying the same things he was before.
What I actually have done is earned credibility with the institutions, which is actually the strategic play. And what I mean by that is like somebody like Tim Pool really likes me now. And I know probably people don't like Tim Pool in here, but I think he is representative of kind of like maybe a mainstream demographic. And so it's like, if I can counter signal, like, let's say the anti-Semites, our side or something a little bit, if I can differentiate myself and say, hey, I'm not on that train. I'm not a conspiratard. I'm not going to accept every Jewish conspiracy or blame literally everything on the Jews. If I could do that and hurt my credibility some with these guys, but earn credibility with more mainstream people, you know, that's actually the real game.
I mean, he really did admit it. He's not only talking about anti-Semitism, he's toned down his racism a lot more from what it was before. He's still a racist piece of shit. All of them are.
You know, enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big fucking deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school. Their water fountain in that famous picture was worse. Who cares? Grow up, drink out of the fucking water fountain. It's water. It's the same, you know? And, you know, even if it was bad, who cares?
But it's definitely not at the level that it was before. And again, that makes him a lot more digestible to other white people that may feel the same way, but don't speak it verbally.
And I think I even said this last year. I think I said last year during the generational run, I said, I haven't really lost sight of things. You know, during the generational run, I kind of told myself, like, I knew it would plateau eventually, because it's like,
you can't keep going extreme because you eventually run out of runways with Nick Fuentes realized.
For obvious reasons. You get censored again, which is basically what happened. And also, people lose interest. They're on to the next flavor of the month, personality, whatever. It happens. It's like, but I knew even then my goal was to break down some doors for myself and make some introductions, press the flesh, get on the shows, and be who I am, which is, I think people meet me and they say, oh, he's like a likable, respectful guy.
Which is why everybody, all the podcast bros, all the interviewers that had him on took the bait. Nick Fuentes never stopped being racist. He never stopped being a bigot.
Reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because There just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
So in my mind, either those people that interviewed him and platformed him aligned with him and his sentiments, or they just didn't care who he was, what his groypers are, what they believe in, and how racist and trash they are.
He's reasonable. He's willing to have the conversation, to sort of make those connections, but also then to try to angle for mainstream acceptance. It's like, my goal is not to, with a lot of these other influencers, the goal is just like up and up and up and up. And this is why a lot of like IRL live streamers crash out. It's because they're always trying to up the ante.
Facts.
They're on this trajectory, they're blowing up. And the only way to keep the rate of growth or even maintain is to just keep being outrageous and more outrageous.
I just talked about the new streamer, the Mexican Chud the Builder, where he tried to follow in Chud the Builder's footsteps.
You're a black. What, nigga? Yo, what the fuck? Shut your up.
Got hands and feet put on him.
Bro, all right, bro, chill, bro.
Now he left the state of Texas for California running for his life.
This cannot be real, bro. How you end up in LA? I had to run, bro. I had to run from Austin.
Because if you're trying to follow Chud the Builder's footsteps, you're already going to an extreme. You can't get any more extreme than what he was already doing. And again, you run out of runway with that or get a real life reality check, which is what the dude got.
And what eventually happens is they crash. And I think that's a little bit what happened to Clavicular. Because Clavicular, it's like to maintain what he was doing, he had to be on all these drugs and it had to just keep getting crazier. And you know what happens when you do that? Legal problems, blow all your money. Doing that stuff, you get burned out. You either burn out and exhausted or you're on drugs. You overdose on drugs. Overdose on drugs causes problems for you behind the scenes. Now, like clearly he's not at the same level he was before and is saddled with a lot of problems, would be my guess. Legal problems and some issues pertaining to the drug use and whatever. And so anyway, so when I was on the generational run a year ago, I was thinking like the real strategic goal, strategy is long-term thinking, is how do I bank this and make it so that like the permanent thing that I've achieved is the mainstream acceptance. It's like, because these things are cyclical and they come in waves. I had a big wave in 2025. I think I'll probably have another big wave in like 2028 when the next election is, because it's cyclical. Interest in politics, that sort of stuff.
He's definitely right about what he said about toning down his rhetoric, his beliefs to be more acceptable to the mainstream. And you look at his online op doing the complete opposite. Sneako has continued to go even more extreme than he was before, which is how you get the whole Hell Hitler in the nightclub in Miami situation.
They don't understand the things I say on Twitter.
Where even Nick Fuentes was there with them.
But they don't see how I be feeling. So I get bitch, I'm the villain.
But everybody else either stepped back or apologized from it. Everybody except Sneako.
To videos
Oh my god, dude.
making the rounds on social media, men in the video celebrating the song.
Celebrating the song. Just turning up in a... Niggas can't even go to the club anymore.
Who has kind of continued to put himself on the island. At this point, he's just kind of seen as the Muslim streamer. That's his whole audience, which is fine. It's still profitable, I'm sure. But he's no longer as mainstream or as acceptable as somebody like Nick Fuentes, which is crazy because when Nick Fuentes was banned everywhere, it was Sneako that was in the mainstream and that kept giving him a platform.
What he thinks about the system, I also think. And it pisses me off that people like Nick get silenced when ultimately, like, he has the same objective. He knows that people are on islands touching kids and the Federal Reserve is all fucked up, and that's who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Just how can you possibly... So you don't care about the other evils that Nick does, but since he has somewhat of the same view as you, you're gonna go with him to the promised land, basically.
What evils?
That's not what I said.
That's what I'm getting
Hold-
at.
hold-
I don't know what's evil necessarily.
And Sneako was tweeting about this stuff himself. I was banned from every social media. I am banned from every club in America over a song. I am banned from Australia for anti-Semitism. The UFC middleweight champion tried to kill me. He did try to kill him. The richest man in the world wants me deported. What makes you think you can stop me? Sneako is honestly his own worst enemy. And people definitely called out not only Nick Fuentes, but also the goofballs that platformed him, had him on podcasts, and was introducing him, a notorious racist, to their own audience, as if he's a normal guy. Congratulations to the dummy podcasters who fell for this extremely obvious shit. Right. Sneako tweeted fed. They got the funniest beef ever. Joe Rogan thinks this guy is brilliant. Shane Gillis thinks he's hilarious. Theo Von thinks he's brave, which makes sense given that whole crowd, how hard they pushed Trump knowing exactly who he was, and now have pivoted to guys like Sneako, who again is super racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, everything. None of this really changes anything for Nick Fuentes. He's already succeeded at his goals of becoming more mainstream. But it does validate the things that people who have continued to call him out have said about him. He hasn't changed. He's the same person. He has the same audience, and he's just playing nice to be more acceptable to more people. But thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.